Welcome to Bet the Farm episode number 3. I'm the host, Brandon the Pig Plotnick. I am filling in today for Eric the Sheep. He is out doing his thing. Duty calls for him, so we will be doing it without him. It's just me, Jared, and Miles today. And we're going to go over a little bit of review of last week's cash crops. Another solid week between the four of us. We're going to milk the cow after last night's big hits for Miles. Give you guys a red card of the week per usual. We've got a few bets between each other actually this week that we're going to discuss. Finally got some disagreements. We'll see if we have a Bet the Farm as a team, and we'll discuss how our Bet the Farm of the team went last week as well. Talk a little bit about NBA and James Harden, and we'll give you guys some more picks heading into this Christmas weekend. So holiday weekend, we still wanted to make sure we got you guys a show. Obviously, everybody's going to be a bit busy, but we'll make this one a little bit quicker than usual so you guys can get with your families and enjoy the holidays. So let's jump right into it. Again, big week last week. So for myself, I was 2-0. I hit on the Chargers and Raiders over 52.5, as well as Cleveland minus 4.5. My new thing's going to be every time I hit a cash crop, put it in my piggy bank. So I'm 5-0 on the year. So that's...
I love it.
And then at the end, we'll see how much I've been able to accumulate. So 5-0 on the year on cash crops for the piglet.
So if that thing gets full.
Oh no! Let's see. Hey,
Are those
so
quarters?
far we're on track. Yeah, they're little quarters. Miles was 2-1 on the week, hitting on the Nets and Clippers last night. As predicted, the Milkman always delivers. And the one loss was the USC college football game. Tough loss to start the week, but you rebounded pretty well.
Thank heavens, yeah. That USC game, we were out on a Friday night, and we were watching the game, Jared and I, and they got down quick. And I look at Jared, and he was like, I didn't take them pregame, so I'm going to take them live. And did you did you even cover that? I don't even know what you got
No,
live.
I got demolished. I got them like at a pick 'em.
Because they kept it like a one-score game for a while.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I was devastated going into the weekend too, especially the first loss of this podcast, and I was upset. But
You rebounded though,
yeah,
which is all you can ask
luckily,
for.
no pun intended.
Eric had a tough week as the Sheep, going 0-1-1. He lost on Boise State. Not a good college football week for us, but not exactly what I'd consider our forte anyways.
No.
And then he took the Chiefs -3, which was a push. We all bet the farm on that one. So a push on the Bet the Farm, which brings us to 1-0-1 on the entire season on our Bet the Farm picks. Jared, how'd you fare?
Yeah, it was a solid 3-2-1 week for myself. I mean, go broke in 60%, so I'll take it. Should have been better. That Chiefs -3 pick, that was our Bet the Farm pick, was dominating the entire game, and we just got backdoored at the end for that little push.
That line did close at 2.5, so hopefully the viewers took it right before
I
game
think
time.
It closed
and-
at 3, but that does go into where
I
we
got-
talk about closing line value. And I didn't. When we talked about it on the podcast, I wasn't expecting Drew Brees to play. So when he got ruled and he was in, that line moved half a point and was sitting at 2.5 for a lot of the week. So if you waited on it, you were able to get 2.5, and that's the difference between a winning bet and a losing bet a lot of the time. So
For sure.
that's why we always emphasize closing line value. But I started the week with the Chargers plus 3.5. I mean, that one,
What a game.
gosh, I don't even want to
For both the
remember that game, but,
over and the spread too. I needed overtime and I got it.
yeah, they did everything they could to blow that game, the Chargers, and foreshadowing of one of my cash crops this week. But I don't betting on the Chargers is not for the faint of heart, essentially. So they were winning that whole game, and I thought they were going to give up that touchdown in overtime and lose to plus 3.5, but they didn't. They covered. Again, going back to closing line value, Panthers +9 when I got them early in the week. That line went down to 8 and closed at 8, and they lose by 8. So when you beat the line, good things happen a lot of the time. So
Are you alright? Keep choking, dude.
I'm coughing. I got something in my throat too. I don't want to cough really hard, but
Get it out, man.
Coughing nowadays is
you don't cough into a mic. That's number one. So yeah, Panthers +9. They covered if you got the line early, and then a couple of the ugly picks. They took the Broncos and they got demolished. Hideous game. But luckily that line closed at 5. So over the long term, if I keep beating the line and the spreads by 2 points of where I take it, I know I'm going to be profitable. So and then the other one I lost was the Jags plus 13. They got demolished. I thought Minshew was going to come to play, and that wasn't really well. I guess
They made a comeback at the end, but it wasn't.
Yeah, that was the defense got thwarted. And then I don't know why you were ripping on our college football picks when I had Clemson minus 10, the easiest winner of the week. That was just a straight demolition show.
1-2.
3-2-1 for me.
So on the year, that brings us on our cash crops to 15-5-2, but also throw in a 3-unit hit for Wes. If anybody had a chance to tune into the MMA show, Wes's cash crop with Aldo hit. So that would really bring the entire show to 16-5-2. That's about as solid as a start as you can get, especially if you factor in unit sizes. That's a pretty profitable percentage, so can't be upset with that. But as we get the hype train going, NBA season's in full force. The cow hit on 2 cash crops last night, so this is what we do. And when the milkman delivers, we got to milk the cow.
Yeah, and like he said last night, we got off the first game with the Nets. I mean, like I said last week, we got it at 5. Hopefully you guys took it at 5. It dropped to 7.5 when Draymond Green got ruled out. I felt confident at 10, but obviously I got it at 5, so that worked out. They were up 30 almost the entirety of the game. And then we were all together actually for the next game, the Clippers and Lakers.
Let's just call a spade. Both games were so boring.
I mean, the Lakers came. The Lakers came back.
Second half was close.
And it was
the first half was so bad, especially coming right off of that Nets blowout.
I almost mooshed it because I was just talking mad shit about how smart I was and what a sharp I was, which I am. But they were up 30, and then they come back, and Jared's like, "You need to watch out. Don't count your chips." What is it? Don't count your chips at the table, like the sheep says, and that's exactly what I was doing. I honestly fell asleep at like 11 o'clock when I got home, and waking up to your text, doing a little milking.
Others need some milk.
It made me happy, and it was better than any text I've ever woken up to. So. Tonight, we got, you guys probably won't see this tonight, but I love the Pelicans. They're plus 5. They're playing against the Raptors. I don't think the Raptors are going to be that good this year. I think Pascal Siakam's very overrated. Obviously still a good player, but he's overrated, and they highly invested in Van Vliet, who's good, but he's, in my opinion, he's a 6 man. And if you pay somebody that much money, then I feel like that's who you're focusing yourself around. And I just love the Pelicans. Zion and Lonzo are both healthy for the first time in who knows how long.
It was encouraging to see Stan Van Gundy saying how badly he wanted to get him on the floor. He's like, he's got to be on the floor, especially playing high minutes. So
it's just a running gun offense, and I absolutely love it. And then keeping up.
So what's that? Pels plus 5.
It's plus 5 against Toronto. Yes.
Okay.
I think I said that last week though. I was talking a little bit about it because I knew we'd be recording
it's
today.
Tonight, so it's tricky because this won't be out until tomorrow.
So I'll give you guys some more winners. Also to touch on tonight. So just to clarify, when I say tonight is Wednesday night. Love the Pelicans Wednesday night. Today is the 23rd, I believe, or is it 24th? 23rd. Also, the Hornets play tonight, minus 2.5. Kevin Love is ruled out with a calf injury. They are minus 2.5. Obviously, if you guys have been watching the first and second episode, you know I'm very emotionally tied to the Ball brothers. This, however, has nothing to do with that.
It has nothing to do with it. You have 2 plays tonight. Right. Both Ball brothers.
Of course. What a coincidence.
Those 2 plays aren't, that's just what I wanted to let everybody know, because when they see this, they're going to be like, okay, he was right. So moving forward to Christmas Day, obviously it's going to be hard with so many NBA games coming up. So I try to focus around a day that, I'm an idiot. I try to focus around a day that everybody be watching basketball, or there are big games. So at noon, tip-off, we have the Pelicans and the Heat. I'm not touching that game because my opinion is going to be emotional, and I'm aware of that. So let's move forward to the next game. We have the Warriors and Bucks. Right now the line sits at minus 9, especially after last night's performance. Yes. I think even without that, I would have pounded the Bucks regardless. And I think the Bucks are going to be so good this year. Minus 9. It would be minus 12, and I would take it. Love Bucks minus 9.
How bad did Golden State look last night?
I mean, it's so tough when Draymond Green and Klay Thompson are not playing. That's your core. It's kind of on Steph to do everything. I don't think Kelly Oubre is much of an addition at all. Maybe he'll throw down a couple dunks a game and hype up the bench. But
if you've got Andrew Wiggins looking as bad as he did it in that game, as well as Oubre. These are the guys that are supposed to be the role player scorers. They're going to be in for a tough season because
100%.
it was atrocious. I think I saw Oubre was like 4 for 16, and maybe that was Wiggins' line. They were both shot like 20%. And they couldn't hit a free throw for their lives. I have Wiggins in fantasy, and I was just like, all right, I already lost field goal percentage this week because he was so bad.
I have Draymond in fantasy, and that was a terrible start.
Yeah.
But and then the next game that I have for that day, Christmas Day, is the Nets and Celtics. The Nets are only -1. I understand Boston is a good team. They've been a good team for a while. Jason Tatum's gonna have a great year. You cannot bet against this offense right now. They're just too good. -1. It's basically a pick 'em. Love the Nets -1.
Also, on that, I'm a little confused by the number, especially with the Celtics got worse this offseason, if anything. They lost Hayward, they lost Tice, they lost Wanamaker. Yeah.
And Kemba's not even healthy right now.
I don't understand the line whatsoever. It's Nets sitting at 1 point, you said?
Yep, -1.
I'm going to tail that.
Yeah, so is that a bet the farm? I know Eric's not here, but
It sounds like an LRC, that's for sure.
definitely LRC.
We'll see.
Okay, we'll see. So stay tuned for that. And like we said, if you guys want our picks at any time, feel free to DM us. We'll send you our picks. It's a good way for you guys to get our picks every night since we do have this podcast once a week. Outside of the NBA, I mean, that's it for now. Stay tuned for next week for more picks. I'm going to try to pick the more popular games or the ones I feel most confident with, obviously, a loaded NBA season. But you're more than welcome to DM us at any time, and we'll send you our picks. Did you guys have anything else to add for the NBA?
Nope.
No NBA picks on my end. I will continue to stick with NFL as my primary betting of choice until golf gets back, and UFC will be back as well in January. So another promo to plug in, but UFC is going to be off for about 3 more weeks. 3 huge cards coming up in the middle of January. We'll continue to do an MMA show, so stay tuned for that. For all 3 of those great cards, Conor McGregor is back, so you're not going to want to miss it. And so I'll wait for UFC, and then of course golf is me and Jared. That's our sport. So we will get.
Can't wait.
Yeah, we got about. I think we only got 1 week off left, and then the full swing season
Wow,
is
that was
back in
quick.
play.
Tournament of
amazing.
Champions,
That was
baby.
quick.
First week of January.
This is a fun time of year, especially with the fact that this season, it's just been such a weird season with the Masters just finishing, and now the Masters are back in 3-4 months. So these players are all going to start playing again, all the studs. So it'll be really, and I think they're going to start getting fans back out there, which will be nice to watch aesthetically. But aside from that, let's move into our red card of the week this week before we get to NFL. Miles, who's getting the boot this week?
Yeah, so my red card of the week should have been my red card of the week last week. I'm kind of happy I waited till this week. Choo Choo Smith-Schuster.
Choo Choo?
I mean,
Choo Choo.
his name should be Choo Choo, but I mean, that's 3 consecutive losses in a row, and you're still doing a TikTok dance on the 50-yard line on their logo where you just got blown up 5-on bell.
That's what he does, though. He just has fun. Why do people care?
And I'm all about that, and he was like, you know what, I'm sticking to it.
Why do people
This
care?
is just who
He's
I
dancing.
am. And then just now he comes out with and says he's not going to do it anymore. Like, stick to your guns if you're going to make yourself look like an idiot.
It's because Tomlin told him, and when Tomlin tells you to do something...
Well, you should have told him
that's it.
3 weeks ago. But, you know.
I mean, they're 11-3. He was probably dancing on the logos all year, and nobody noticed until they started losing, so who cares?
Oh, I thought it was just karma when you just get drilled and you fumble the ball. It's just, he looks like an idiot.
Well, what I saw a tweet, I believe, some guy in fantasy, he was winning by 0.2 points,
Oh, no.
and the guy had nobody left, and he had Juju, and he said all of his friends convinced him to start Juju in case there was a stat correction, and he started him, and he had -1 point something.
That's what he
points.
finished with?
He finished with negative points because of the fumble.
I saw
Oh
a different
my
one with
God.
Juju.
It
And
must have been a non-PPR league because he had 3 catches for 15
Yeah, I was gonna
yards
say,
and a
yeah.
fumble.
I saw the same thing with Juju and Eric Ebron. And I think you may have seen the same. It may have been the same one, but Ebron got 0 points because he got hurt.
Oh, that's what it
And
was.
Juju, yeah, and then-
the other guy had Ebron. That's what it was, and he had 0 points.
Yeah, it's
Look,
ridiculous.
he
and,
lost.
and Juju, I love the fact that you stick to your guns and you're like, this is me. I'm not going to change who I am. But then after you lose 3 straight, don't go and change that. Like, you can't do that. Lost my respect right there.
So there's been a lot of chatter, at least in Dolphins Nation, that Juju's a free agent this offseason, and obviously the Dolphins need a receiver. And I saw on Twitter, everybody on Dolphins Twitter saying, this guy doesn't fit the culture. It's like, Dude, he is so relatable. He's very in tune with the young generation, which is actually really good to have in your locker room. I think he's so fun personally. I know that I'm a little biased to Steelers. The Steelers are kind of like my second team, but I just don't know what there isn't to like about Juju. He makes the sport fun. Didn't we just go the last 5-10 years complaining about how these sports aren't fun and we need people and personalities to liven it up? Now people are complaining about it because he's dancing and they're losing a few games. Come on, this is a double standard. I don't agree.
I only have a problem with his inconsistency. Stick to your guns. If you're going to say something, say it.
I don't even know
change
if
it
it's
the
his
next week.
inconsistency. Big Ben's been atrocious.
No, I'm saying as far as dancing like an idiot in the 50-yard line, I don't care about him doing that.
I understand. That's just my thought. I just think that Juju's good.
I think he's very talented, and I would.
I think he's good for the
Dolphins.
sport the way he acts.
Right. Okay, and I respect that.
Granted, you don't need to dance on opponents' logos. I'm just saying for him to be himself.
The
And he shouldn't try to change because people don't like it.
It's embarrassing.
So, okay, understood. He's getting your boot of the week.
Yeah, it should have been last week, but I'm glad it's this week.
Jared, who's getting tossed?
Yeah, you know who's getting tossed for me. I kind of alluded to this a little earlier, talking about the Chargers and that awful, abysmal game and how many chances they had to cover. And how many chances they have at the end of regulation last 3 minutes? Hey, Bagley, you're going to call yourself, what does he call himself? Money Badger?
Yeah, Money Badger.
Or like
the Money Badger, yeah.
Thinking that he's money always in crunch time, that he's the man. And he did this it had to have been 6 weeks ago too. They were talking about on the air and he missed an easy game-winning field goal. Missed 2 very easy field goals. Also, you know what, I'm going to throw in a second one. Anthony Lynn, you get another red card of the week. I mean, this guy just makes me sick. This is what we always talk about. Never take the Chargers as favorites. But as underdogs, sometimes they can squeeze through even though he tried to lose this one. But I mean, this guy, you're going against a defense that gives up so many yards in the air. And all he tries to do the whole game is establish the run for no reason. You have Herbert, who's just been dominating all year long, but let's just keep handing it off to these subpar running backs, getting stuffed. And then, right at the end of regulation, they had a 42-yard field goal for the win. And this is the one time he decides he wants to roll out his quarterback and try to make a play, and he gets sacked 8 yards backwards, and then Bagley misses that field goal. So you know what? Double red cards on the Chargers, coaches and kicker.
I'm with you on that. Especially, I saw Herbert had one pass attempt in the fourth quarter before that final drive, something crazy like that. They weren't throwing the ball.
Well, I did see, though, that there was kind of a skewed stat because they didn't really have the ball in the fourth quarter for most of that quarter because Oakland was driving down. But yeah, to the point, it's like they weren't running the ball all quarter long they weren't throwing the ball all quarter long when they should have been. They were running the ball. And then at the end, the one time it makes the most sense to run, because it was only 3rd and 2. You run the ball, you get 2 yards, you can run the clock out, kick the field goal, game over. Instead, they try to run one out and get sacked, and they have to try a 52-yarder, and he barely misses it to the left. That 8 yards is the difference between making it or missing it.
Honestly, I needed it to cash my over going overtime.
Yeah, well, you're welcome.
Getting 3 points and
That's
then
smart.
coming back getting 6.
Worked
So.
out.
Going over against a head coach that just got a red card.
I'm surprised I didn't get your red card. I thought I was going to get your red card for my shower debacle last night.
Why don't you tell...
I'll give you a yellow for that, which is the second week in a row you're getting a yellow, which is basically...
You know,
you're right. No, I got a 3rd red card of the week, and it goes to Miles Singer. And that's for last night. He comes over, we play tennis for 3 hours, don't ask us why for 3 hours. It wasn't what we planned. But he comes over quickly before we go out and get Taco Tuesday, which has been bothering my stomach all day, by the way.
I feel
so he goes in and takes a shower in my brother's room, Brandon's shower, and then he comes out and he says, you know what, I don't want to tell you guys, I don't want to be made fun of, but I have to tell you guys. I grabbed the shampoo bottle, it was just so weird, and I just put it in my hair, and it just felt a little odd. And I looked at it and I realized it was Lily, the dog, over here, the little pit bull. It was Lily's shampoo that he put in his hair and just rubbed his hair down. He's like, you know what? But it feels a little soft. I kind of like it. So now he actually wants to use Lily's shampoo going forward. So
I already sent him a link on how to buy it on Amazon.
Definitely going to use it tonight. I'm such a sick puppy.
So,
You're no longer a cow. He's a dog.
Yeah, he is officially a dog. We're going to have to...
He must be feeling silky smooth right now.
I'll chug one to that.
There you go. All right.
So, 3rd red card of the week. So sorry, I just made up for it.
I just have to
people
make
getting
sure you
boots
remember
today.
that.
Yeah.
All right, my red card of the week is going to go to Charles Barkley
Yes.
for being the worst interviewer in the history of sports analysts.
That's fair.
Obviously, prime time on TNT, the opening night of the NBA, and this guy, after the Clippers games, interviewing Paul George and interviewing Kevin Durant, and he's just nonstop asks close-ended questions, and they just answer him with one-word answers, and he just gets all awkward, and it just is the worst TV ever. I don't know how they let him do the interview. He is pretty funny and entertaining, but it was so bad. I think he asked Kevin Durant a question, and all Kevin Durant was like, yeah. and they just had dead silence for 15 seconds. It was the most awkward bit of television.
It's like me on a first date.
But like if that's literally that's literally like interviewing 101 is don't ask closed-ended questions, and this guy's been doing it for over a decade and he's still doing it. It's pathetic.
You know what?
So-
Fourth red card for me. Kenny the Jet. He did the same thing.
They all don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
No, Shaq's the best though. He makes the whole squad.
Yeah. But Kenny the Jet literally even said beforehand, he prefaced it, and he's like, all right, it's not really a question, it's more of a statement, but let's make it a question statement. And then it goes on and just says a statement. And he tried to turn it into a question,
They're
even though it
idiots.
wasn't.
It's terrible.
So that's my fourth red card.
That's
I'm feeling very aggressive today. We're going to have no one left on the pitch after the show.
Well, speaking of the pitch, let's move over to the gridiron.
what a transition.
To our NFL crops of the week. I will go ahead and start us off for NFL plays. It's week 16.
Let's go.
It gets tricky when we get to the end of the year because you
that's quick.
do know a lot of teams are not going to be trotting out their best effort and best squads, whereas you've got some teams that are fighting for playoff berths and really need W's. So it gets a little tricky when it comes to picking winners here, but I'll just go ahead and lead us off. And a good transition in is I'm taking the Saints -0.5 versus the Vikings in a teaser with the Bears -1 versus the Jags, 6.5 point teaser. This is going to be a 4-unit banger on my end.
Whoa.
Yeah, 4-unit banger.
Holy crap. Can you repeat that play then, since it's such a big play?
Saints -0.5 over the Vikings, so basically to beat the Vikings, with the Bears -1, which is relatively to win, but they need to win by 2, over the Jags in a 6.5 point teaser.
Wow.
I'll just
I
get
like that.
4-unit banger.
That's a Timmy teaser.
I'll jump
I like
right
that.
into it, really. The Vikings are eliminated from the playoffs already. The Saints are on a 2-game losing streak. I feel like this is the perfect back spot for the Saints. Drew Brees obviously is going to get his feet under him now. They walked in and had to face the Chiefs in his first game back. Wasn't really a game you expected them to win, but now they're in what I would consider somewhat of a must-win situation moving forward. So they've clinched the playoff spot at 10-4, but they need to win this week to win the division over the Bucs and get that home field advantage. So they're going to come out really motivated. Meanwhile, Minnesota is just in shambles. I don't see what they have to play for moving forward. They're already out of the playoffs. The best part of their game is their run game, obviously with Dalvin Cook. However, the Saints come in ranking 3rd in against opposing running backs in yards per carry and 4th in overall rushing yards allowed. So I think they'll be able to contain Dalvin. On the other side, the Vikings have the worst D-line in the NFL in all the key metrics. I think the Saints should be able to play bully ball on both sides with the O-line and D-line. Also, Saints revenge game last year
Good call.
in the playoffs. Game went to overtime. Kyle Rudolph with that questionable push-off touchdown in overtime that got the Vikings to move on. So I think the Saints will be extra motivated. And this is just a perfect get-right opportunity for the Saints. After 2 straight losses, I think they're going to be coming in ready to go. On the other side, the Jags all but locked up the number 1 pick with that win by the Jets last week.
they're not winning.
So
So
the Jags are going to be having a concerted effort to lose moving forward these last 2
think
games.
so, right.
Yeah. So they're already rumored to be benching their studs. I saw James Robinson's already going to be out this week.
Studs.
I thought he should have made the Pro Bowl. He got snubbed. James Robinson should have been a Pro Bowler, but that's about their only stud. But even when they're at full strength, they're awful. So who cares? But Chicago on the other side, they're still fighting to keep their playoff hopes alive. They're on a hot streak right now. They've scored 30-plus points in the last 3 games. I think that the Jags' defense is another perfect opportunity for them to continue that streak. I expect a blowout, but I'm teasing it just to get through those key numbers on both games as they both sit above 7 points. So want to get through that key number of 7.5, 7 points on both sides, just because I expect them both to win. Honestly, I wouldn't even think you're crazy to parlay this bet on both teams with the spread. Not even money line with the spread, but I'm just gonna be a little bit safer as I
like
do a
that
4-unit
teaser.
banger, and that's my first NFL cash crop of the week. Jared, what's your first one?
Well, it's actually, no pun intended, but piggybacking off of yours. Now, I don't know what line you saw, but when I was just looking right before the show, I saw the Saints at -7, and I feel very confident for pretty much the entire handicap.
I got
you outlined.
7.5.
So I'm taking the Saints just -7. That's my first cash crop of the weekend. I mean, I could just repeat everything you just said, but there's really no point. And we didn't even talk about this before the show, but that's pretty much my handicap too on a little short week. Breeze back. More so on the other side is that defense for New Orleans has just been dominant all year long. I mean, I don't want to judge them based off what you do. Against the Chiefs, though, because the Chiefs are the best offense in the world. But I think the Saints, they have that defensive firepower to shut down Dalvin and force Kirk Cousins to beat them. Everyone knows Kirk Cousins in primetime games, never normally the same type of player that he normally is, and that's a Christmas. And also, isn't he really like Christian, too? Very devout. He's probably very upset that he's not with his family. He has to go on the road to New Orleans. I'm expecting, Kirk Cousins, let's add just a little bonus pick here too. Not a cash crop, but Cousins to throw a pick. It's going to be a little juicy, but that's definitely happening.
So you expect 0. You like that from Kirk Cousins.
0, probably negative. He's not even going to like being there and playing. So, I even adding that on top of Brandon's handicap, I think the Saints are winning by double digits.
Yeah. All right, my second cash crop of the week is actually, before I get there, I did want to touch on Eric threw in his cash crops, even though he couldn't be here.
Also, Brandon didn't say it at the beginning of the show, but the reason he's not here, it's not that he has any obligations, but we have a firm rule. You go 0 for on your cash crops, you're out of show, right? So, 5th red card of the week, Eric.
Automatic
told you,
ejection.
there's going to be no one left on this pitch after the show. Go ahead.
So, his first one is going to be, and I'm just going to rattle all 3 because the handicaps are easy to get through, but he's got Steelers plus 1.5. He thinks it's a great spot. A team getting embarrassed on national TV when they always tend to bounce back. Obviously, 3 losses in a row. Everyone's writing them off. Not him. He's really thinking that this is a bounce back spot for them. So the Steelers against, who they even play?
Home against the Colts.
Okay, that's what I thought. So Colts, he's got the Packers minus 3.5. Obviously, everybody knows he's a Packers fan. I think he bets them every week.
Shocking.
They haven't covered 2 weeks in a row, or actually, I believe you hit on the plus 9 on Carolina. So They didn't cover last week or the week before, but this is just a standard sheet pick for him. The Packers win, and they are going to lock in that number 1 seed in the West, or in the NFC, I should say. And Rodgers obviously saying he wants that home field advantage, and that will be the difference. So he takes care of business. Now, the third one, he's moving to college football. He's going to be on the University of Miami plus 2 in a bowl game. Again, another homer pick. Does this kid know anything else other than homer picks? It's unbelievable.
There's a reason his nickname is the Sheep.
Yeah. So he says similar spot to Green Bay. They got embarrassed last week, and he thinks that Manny Diaz, the coach there at the University of Miami, is going to show that he still has the team to bought in and that they believe in him, and he wants to ride the narrative.
I wish he was here so I could call him out and literally ask how many players on the UM he knows, because I guarantee it's not over 3.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Well, those are his 3. My second cash crop, it pains me to say, but I am actually also in on the Packers. He said 3.5.
Oh, wow.
He said 3.5. I got it at 3.
Well,
so a little bit more
it's
value.
in the middle, right? So it's minus 120. So the line's pretty much minus 3.25, right?
Yeah.
So you can either buy that half and pay 25 cents.
I didn't buy it, though.
I'm saying, though, if the line was at 3.5 plus 100, you could buy the half to make it minus 125. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's essentially the same thing.
So home versus Tennessee. My handicap on this one, I just still think Tennessee's a pretender. I've been saying it all year. They've only won 3 games versus teams with a winning record this year. Green Bay, like he mentioned, needs to lock up the win today to get the 1 seed. The Titans come in with a bottom 5 pass defense in the NFL, which to me indicates a smash spot for Aaron Rodgers at home in the highest point total game of the week. Green Bay, on the other side, even though it's the highest point total, comes in with both the top 10 defense in passing yards and rushing yards per game. I don't know if they'll be able to contain Derrick Henry, because Derrick Henry in December, Tractorcito, is unstoppable. Mm-hmm. Green Bay 6-1 at home this year, 77-19-1 all time at Lambeau. So I think we're going to see a motivated Aaron Rodgers. Now the trend that I like this week that really had me on it: Packers are 35-21 against the spread in December home games since 2000. So I'm really digging Aaron Rodgers in a bounce back. Well, not really a bounce back, in a really motivated spot this week. So I'll be on the Packers minus 3. I got one more, but before I get to that, Jay, what else you got?
Yeah, let's alternate. Why not? So I'm going to go my second one. You know what? I'll do something related to what you just said. Before that, I guess, but from Eric. But unfortunately, that's why if you heard my fuck about 5 minutes ago,
I heard it.
I'm also on the Steelers plus 1.5. And if you've been listening to the last few shows, It's pretty obvious who I am. Love me a good team off 3 losses where everyone's talking shit about them, especially on prime time against the top 5 worst team in the NFL. And I'm getting them at home, plus 1.5. And I mean, the Colts have been good, but the Steelers are still good, right? They've had a few injuries that have really impacted their defense. I think underrated injury more than anything. Vince Williams, that linebacker that they're missing, especially because they've been thin at linebacker, that's really hurt. And he's missed 2 weeks now because of COVID. So hopefully everything's right with him. But I would think that he's going to be back for this week because I think that's and Brandon, Vince Williams from
FSU.
If you didn't know that, you were getting a 6 red card of the week.
I'm on fire with hitting on.
Well, you better hit that one. I mean, I just gave you a layup. But yeah, this handicap's not.
I kind of guessed, to be honest. I figured if he asked me, it had to be.
If you run it back, you said it with question. Yeah, you definitely weren't sure.
Hey, the hot streak continues.
But you're telling me now I get this team at home. I guarantee this line 3 weeks ago would have been Steelers minus 3.5, 4.5, getting 5 points of value because they lose 3 in a row. I mean, they were, as we talked about when I was on that Bills pick, and the Steelers were undefeated, and I faded them 2 weeks in a row. I knew they were overvalued, but now they're going to undervalued. This is what happens in the NFL. This is how you pick your spots, and I really like the Steelers plus 1.5.
Okay. My last cash crop, I'm going back to the well. Again, Browns -9 at the Jets this week. This is just like I talked about with both Jacksonville and the Vikings. The Jets especially do not want to win another game this year. So this is another fade spot on the Jets coming off of their first win of the year, who's definitely looking to lose out and retain the number 1 overall pick in the draft if somehow they get lucky and Jacksonville squeaks out a win in one of the last 2 games. We don't need much stats for this. The Jets suck. They're awful. Cleveland's in a groove ever since they got Chubb back. They've won 5 of their last 6. The only loss was that Ravens game in overtime. I think that Cleveland's got a chance to win the division for the first time since 1989. I think they're going to be extremely motivated. They've looked really good. Baker has been a beast on the road this year, 5-2 record on the road with a 17-4 touchdown to interception ratio. He's hot on the road this year. He's got a 68% completion percentage on the road as well. I can just see, also the other thing I was thinking about, I can see the Jets pulling the plug on Darnold in the middle of a game at any point, putting Flacco in to preserve his trade value. You know, he's got 1 more year on his rookie deal. They may try to cash in and cut their losses, trade him for whatever they can get, a second-round pick for a team that needs a young quarterback. Flacco sucks. Browns win by 13, at least.
And, I mean, again, I think I said this I think it was 2 weeks ago when I took the Jets, but Darnold, I mean, if you're a team that needs a quarterback and they're going to give him up for a second-round pick, cash me in all day long, especially a team with weapons, because the guy was put in no position to succeed. 5th red card of the week. Maybe 6th now.
6th. That's the 6th.
Adam Gase, dude. Are you kidding me? You go all year long being absolutely awful, and they keep you for one reason. And that's to lose out to get what some people think is a generational quarterback in Trevor Lawrence.
I'm one of those
and you
people.
go and you win. And I know you are, but I know I kind of disagree with you. We go back and forth. You're in love with him. I think he's going to be obviously a good quarterback, but you think he's going to be like one of the best of all time.
100%.
All right, let's save that debate for later when we're talking about arguments. But point being is that Adam Gase, man, what are you doing? What are you doing? All of that leading into, though, another bet where we're related, but again, I switched it up a little bit. You went kind of opposite what we did before. You went Browns -9.5. I'm taking a 7-point teaser this time, right? Very rare, but I'm going to have to lay additional vig, so I'm going to have to lay like -130 for this. But the reason why I'm doing it is the Browns -9.5. As we talked about before, I want to get through those key numbers to 7 and 3. So I'm taking the Browns in a teaser down to 2.5. And I'm taking them with the Bears -0.5. And that goes into the handicap you gave a little earlier also. They're actually still alive. There's not a dream crusher yet for the Bears. The Bears still have a chance.
So you took the exact same teaser, but at 7 points?
You didn't take the Browns on the teaser.
Oh,
you took the Browns.
My bad.
Hey, but it's good that you guys are on the same page. It makes me feel more
in different ways,
confident
though.
about
So I have the Bears down to -0.5, so I just need them to win. They're at the Jets, correct? And, I mean, again,
No, it's the Browns and Jets.
Yeah, that's what he said.
No,
Oh, sorry, who are the Bears playing again?
Oh.
Bears have Jags.
Yeah.
The Jags. Yeah, so hopefully, like you said, they're kind of... I mean, again, Minshew's their best option at quarterback, but I also saw Marone's like, we don't know if Minshew's going to start. So I think they're incentivized right now to lose out. If he wants to keep his job, I think the GM's nudging him, hey, you lose these last 2 games by any means necessary. So
Minshew's best days are behind him.
I disagree. I still think he's a solid quarterback, but he's
never going to get the same opportunity.
compared to who they have on their rosters.
I'm talking about in Jacksonville.
Oh,
The
yeah,
city of Jacksonville loves Gardner. I mean, we went to the game against the Dolphins.
sure,
Like,
yeah.
how annoying are they when they scream Duval every 5
Yeah,
seconds?
remember
Not only that, but everywhere you go, there's
Bud
he's got-
Light everywhere.
He's got.
We wouldn't drink Bud Lights there because, and Bud Light's my favorite beer of preference, and we wouldn't drink them because he was advertised on every single Bud
He's
Light.
got billboards everywhere.
He's worship there. It makes me
Sign.
sick. Like,
It's kind of embarrassing,
Yeah.
pathetic to be honest.
And it'll be all over when they lose
Jags
their
fans, pathetic.
last... 7th red card? No. It'll
Makes me
be
so happy
that
to
will
see
be
it.
all over when they lose their last 2 games and they get Trevor Lawrence. So, and that's going to happen when the Bears are minus a half. And don't get me wrong, I don't like the Bears, especially like you could shoot me in the head if I lay over a touchdown with them on the road. But one thing Trubisky's good at is when he's running the football
Right.
and he's playing a soft defense. And they said last week he ran the ball 8 times. And he hadn't run the ball more than 4 times all season. And back in his rookie year, when he was a actual Pro Bowl quarterback and really good, he was running the ball a lot. So Trubisky's down running the ball again, going against the softest defense that just got demolished by the Ravens, unfortunately. But so that teaser I love,
so you're not betting on them, the Bears to win. You're betting on the Jags to lose.
essentially. Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too. I mean,
And it's a good matchup.
All year long, I've said the Bears are pretenders, but they're again in this
The Jags are
spot
stupid
where they
to
have to win, and the Jags
Yeah. And when I say
need to lose, so to speak.
Right.
and when I
It's
say
just the
Drew-
perfect spot,
It is.
especially to tease where you get it to basically win outright. I mean,
coin flip. And when I say before Dream Crusher, right, what I mean is that in the NFL, it's tough for a lot of these teams. They work their ass off week in and week out to give themselves an opportunity to make the playoffs. A lot of these teams, when they get to the point where they're mathematically eliminated, like the Vikings we're talking about, with like the Saints, because now the Vikings are done. Like after their loss to the Bears last week, it's over. So like normally that's what we call a Dream Crusher. Like now they're down. Like now we have nothing to play for. We're 7-7 or 6-8, and now we're officially eliminated. We're done. But so for the Vikings, I want to fade that because that's normally come out soft. Then you have, on the other hand, though, you have the Bears where, I mean,
they're not mathematically
odds aren't in their
eliminated
favor, but they can still win out and they have a chance to make the playoffs. So for them, the Dream Crushers not dead. They're still alive and they're going to be out there to play and try to win the
now
game.
come next week, we don't know if that's going to be the case, but at least it is now, so you know they'll
that's
be
the whole
motivated.
handicap.
Right.
So
all right, great.
are you done with your NFL picks? 'Cause
Yeah, I
still
had
have
3, so I'm good. You've
So I
got
still have 2 more. One goes into earlier, again, when I talked about my recap from last week, and I talked about my red card of the week, and then it turned into 2 red cards of the week. I'm fading the Chargers. Why? They're minus over a field goal.
their favorite.
And when they're favored, I'm taking the other team. And again, it sucks because I just backed this shitty Broncos team last week, and they got demolished.
Oh.
But they were going against a superior team. The Bills right now are just clicking on all cylinders. But I'm taking the Broncos plus 3.5 for that simple handicap. All I need is a come down in the end. Anthony Lynn have to make a decision, have to make the money badger kick the ball when he's just going to shank it again and miss. And I get over a field goal on it. Give me the plus 3.5 with the Broncos.
It's a great scenario.
And last but not least, another teaser. But it was what I just alluded to earlier. The Bills clicking on all cylinders. And they're going on the road at New England. And New England, what we just talked about, Dream Crusher, right? New England just had the Dream Crusher. They're done. Mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. They cannot make it. And what are the Bills? What have they dealt with? They haven't won a division since 1995. They still technically have a chance to get the number 1 seed, I believe, over the Chiefs if they win out and the Chiefs somehow lose both games. Not necessarily the case. But the Bills, they have been getting their asses kicked by New England over and over and over again for so many years. This is their opportunity on Monday Night Football. They go on the road, and they can just
tee off.
tee off on a team that's dead. And I think they're going to. Granted, I'm still throwing them in a teaser because I don't want to lay 7 on the road against a Belichick team in division.
It's fair.
But I still think if you like the Bills and you can get them down, you can get them at 7, which I think the line is now. I'm not opposed to that, but I'm going to tease that with the Panthers. Again, covering Teddy Bridgewater. You give me over a touchdown with Bridgewater, and I like it. I think they're plus 1.5 on the road at. Again, I'm blanking on who they're playing. I should probably note this when I'm taking these picks. But they're 1.5 on the road against. Is it a Texans team? No.
My
Please
place doesn't
hold.
have it up.
Yeah, hold on one second. But all I know is when Teddy Bridgewater is plus over a touchdown, and I can get it in a game where it's essentially a coin flip, I'm gonna take it here in the situation. And they're at the football team. So they got the football team. They're on the road. This football team is, again, you can tell they're struggling offensively. One thing I'm worried about is after Haskins went through dollar bills everywhere at the strip club without a mask, that we may get Alex Smith back this
Maybe
week,
James
which is going to be a little more like challenging for this pick. But again, I don't think that Carolina is as bad as their record. They kept games close all year long. They're 4-10, and the football team, I know they got to win, but I'm getting over a touchdown. So I'm taking that teaser, and I like that one a lot.
Okay. Does that wrap up our cash crops?
That's my
for the
5
week?
cash crops of the week.
All right.
Throwing
Well,
those dollar bills would be a good transition.
yeah, it really is because I thought we were going to get to the NBA a little bit later, but at the end of the day, I just wanted to talk a little bit just about the landscape of the NBA and what we're seeing so far. I know I mentioned a little bit. I know we talked about it last week, but the Nets team total overs, it sucked because in DraftKings last night for my DFS players out there, if you had Kevin Durant or you had Kyrie or you had Joe Harris, all the studs, they were popping off in the first half. And then because it was such a blowout, they just didn't play much in the second half, and they kind of got screwed when it came to DraftKings scoring. But also, just when it comes to team totals, this team is just going to score and score and score. One thing I saw last night that I really thought was really intriguing, especially from a fantasy perspective, was Karis LeVert is going to be the sixth man. And when he comes in, they pretty much take all the studs out. So they take Kyrie and KD out for the most part, and he's just playing by himself on an island, and all he does is shoot, shoot, shoot. So he's going to have an insane amount of volume. I think he's going to be a stud this year when it comes to scoring in DraftKings and scoring in fantasy. So definitely keep an eye out for Karis LeVert. I'm interested to see what Houston is a total mess right now. John Wall may be out for their opener. They may lose DeMarcus Cousins for the opener.
Yeah.
They may, well, they're very likely not going to have James Harden because I think he's addicted to strip clubs. That's my
Yes.
Did you guys get to hear his reasoning and what he said he was doing?
I did. I just still think he's addicted. I think he's got an
he
issue.
said that he said he was going to support one of his friends who was making a boss move and doing something business wise, and he was going there to support her. He wasn't going there to go to a strip club.
Good for him.
Here's my theory. He should just invest in his own strip clubs.
Just too
That way,
close,
every
yeah.
time he's at the strip club, at least they could say he owns it and he's just there because of business.
I mean,
It's a great scapegoat move by him. He's got so much money. He makes $45 million a year.
So much
Just
money.
buy as many strip clubs as you can get. That way, every time you're videotaped at a strip club, you could just say you're working.
this is the same dude.
It's
that
a
was,
heady play.
Same dude that was eating ice cream out of a baseball helmet at the Astros game in a box by
Well, he
himself.
looks like it. 'cause
So
he's
he
a
just
fat
has some
fuck.
weird hobbies. I don't understand it. He likes
He's 31 without kids, and he's got no wife. or
and too much
girlfriend.
money that he knows what to do with.
What's wrong with being around 30 with no kids and no wife?
Touche. Touche.
Ouch.
He literally flies to cities on his off days just to go to strip clubs. I'm convinced that he has
Good for
an
him.
issue.
I mean, I'm trying to think if I would do something different if I was in a situation. Obviously, during COVID, I wouldn't, but I don't know. I mean, at the same time, you got to respect him.
I think he's the man. He's just got an issue.
Yeah.
Like I said, Tony Soprano style. Just buy as many strip clubs as you can get. That way, all across the country and all the top cities. That way, every time you go, it's considered a business
Yeah.
trip. I would respect it. All right. And the only other thing I wanted to touch on today was I know we had some potential friendly bets to go over this week. Was there anything that you were adamant about that you really liked this week that you'd be willing to wager? I know Trevor Lawrence coming into the NFL. Jared isn't a big believer. Miles is.
Well, let me just elaborate on that. I'm not saying I'm a big believer, but Miles will go off the other end of the moon saying he's going to be probably the best quarterback of all time, right? So all I'm saying is I'm not going that far. I'm just saying he's not going to be as good as you think he is. That's all. So I don't know if any wagers you can make from this, but you know what? A wager I'd be willing to make is, what do you know, out of nowhere, someone's basketball picks come and they somehow coincide with both of his futures and both of his Rookie of the Years and even maybe an MVP award. So I'll fade anything ball related because you can tell it's just a homer pick.
So here we go. Miami Heat, Christmas Day against the Pelicans.
He refuses
Well,
to
that
take
is the
it.
reason why I refuse to touch it. But honestly, and this sucks because I am a Miami Heat fan, obviously, which I also want to talk about something else with the Miami Heat that I feel like a lot of people aren't talking about. But I like the Pelicans are getting points against Miami. This Pelicans team is, I don't know why people are overlooking them.
It's 2 syllables, 1 word. It's called defense.
Do you realize that Lonzo Ball is one of the best perimeter defenders in the league?
Why? So why is every
What?
team he's been
And
on?
That
so
is
is Eric
definitely
Bledsoe.
not a
So
no.
why have
100%.
they been
No,
one
it's
of the worst
not.
defensive teams every team he's been on?
And now they have
since
Steph
the NBA?
and Zion's a beast. Dude, this...
Nobody
All right.
considers
You know what? I'd
Lonzo
rather have
Ball
this... Let's.
This is what we
I
call
do.
bias.
I do.
an elite perimeter
I
defender.
do.
Nobody.
I do.
He's so
I bet you
So
I'm not the
biased.
only one.
He's so
I bet you I'm not the
biased.
only one.
And Drew Holiday was probably the best perimeter.
You know, we're going to go to
Okay, and
producer
Eric
after
Bledsoe
the show,
is a
and we're gonna
great
look this up,
defender,
and I
too.
guarantee you every team Lonzo Ball's ever been in has finished 25th or worst in defensive rating. And he's somehow an elite defender.
What are you
on
going to
team
compare
where
it to a
everyone
shitty
else on
Lakers?
him-
You got a shitty
A
Lakers
shitty
team.
Lakers team with the small forward that's one of the best defenders of all time.
Who?
But yeah,
LeBron.
LeBron James.
LeBron, okay, you're right. That was his last year there, but what I'm saying when they traded him, he was so young. Him and BI together last year, they weren't really...
And BI can't cover on defense either.
I agree with that. But I'm saying, like, Zion wasn't 100% healthy. Now this year, I've been watching this kid since he was in high school. He's a defense-first type of guy. And
Well, yeah, you gotta be defense first.
the
if you
opposite,
can't shoot.
the complete opposite of LaMelo, and that's not true. Did you watch his preseason games?
Yeah, he almost hit his nose every time he released
Oh
the
my
ball.
God, his release is from here. It's not from here anymore. You pay attention, you know that. But I want to talk about this because I feel like a lot of people aren't talking about it, and us as Miami Heat fans, this is something that we're going to pay attention to. Especially a guy that likes to play kind of the similar way that I do. Max Struss, are you familiar with the name?
Yeah.
His second year, undrafted free agent, and you know, Miami just has an eye for talent.
Brandon from?
Max Struss.
And actually, no.
DePaul, baby.
DePaul.
From a D2
Let's
school,
go.
transferred to
Well, Brandon was
DePaul.
showing off of getting all those right.
Well,
Yeah, that's a tough
You
one.
guys have
Where-
Miami
where-
Heat D-leaguers. My bad.
Where was the D2 school that he went to before he went to DePaul?
No idea.
Lewis University.
Even though that was a school.
But I think he meshes very well. He obviously signed a two-way contract. I think this could be another Duncan Robinson
I
type
read your
situation.
mind.
Obviously, he's not going to be as elite in shooting, but he can create. He's kind of has that Steph Curry kind of how he moves without the ball. Kind of has that similar game to him. I really like him. I think people need to look out for him.
All right, so Brandon, I know we haven't had one of these today, and you kind of only watched one or two preseason games with Max Struss, but I'm on board with Miles with the next Duncan Robinson 2.0. So we're gonna have a bet the farm here.
0% chance. That guy sucks. If you watch his first game, I think he was like 3 for 10 shooting from 3. He was terrible.
He had 22 points and
It
11
is-
points.
Okay. It's
not- I mean, he still put up 22.
11-point game was terrible, and he played like 38 or probably played 30 minutes.
All right.
So how about this?
He
Miles,
is an average preseason phenom, if you want to even call him that. He's whatever. Don't count your chickens
I
before
think
they
he
hatch.
fits so perfectly into our offense.
Really, because he's never going to play.
Yeah, you never know.
We're like one of the deepest offenses in the NBA.
All it takes is a couple injuries.
I mean, I feel like we should put a wager on this. I feel very confident.
Nah, there's no wager we can really do. But Brandon, do we have anything else? Or else I have an option to end the show.
What do you got?
Well, I just have one
you
more
done?
thing to add
Okay,
for the
good,
NBA.
sorry.
So, the most improved player, comeback player of the year, lock Kevin Durant. That's all I have to say.
I mean,
There's no way
you're
you
not
can even win
improved
that.
from tearing Achilles. You
And
can't get any
being a-
better than being a top 5 player of all time.
Yeah, being a
Because the
two-time
NFL has
MVP
comeback
already.
player of the year, right? NBA doesn't have that?
They do have it.
Okay, so comeback
He's already
player of the
won
year.
2 Finals
You know-
MVPs. He's not going to win a comeback.
He was
player of
sitting
the
out
year.
all last
You are
year.
so wrong.
He had an Achilles injury. Like, is there anything worse than that?
No.
Comeback player of the year is like getting a lot better from the last time he
Yeah.
played. The last time he played,
Yeah,
he was
no-
a top 5 player in the world.
No, I think that it could be an injury. Didn't AP win comeback player of the year?
Did LeBron win comeback player of the year? Comeback player of the year? Did LeBron win comeback player of the year last year?
Yeah, after he just demolished his groin and was out half the year. I don't think so.
Okay.
What would be
He
the
sat
point of that?
entire season?
Yeah, what would be the point of the award?
you're
The whole point of the award is to reward someone that was not as good the last
For
time they
most
played.
improved player, but not for comeback player of the year. You're coming back from a
Actually,
significant
I guess
injury.
you're technically right, yeah.
The dude tore his Achilles, and literally he just looked like he had healthy legs.
And he sat out a whole year when he didn't
Yeah.
have to, so he's been resting for 18 to
And he's
20
playing on a
months.
new team and a new offense.
Who fuck cares?
There is no comeback player of the year for NBA.
Okay.
So most improved.
Most improved.
Yeah,
Yeah, and,
suck it.
and
Jared Cassius.
most improved is not that category because most improved, like you, was
That's my
how Brandon
point.
For
Ingram won
everyone at
last
home, our
year.
producer informed us there is no comeback player of the
Yeah,
year
okay.
in NBA.
So
for
give
Mr.
me
NBA Sharp
So give me
over
a
here.
yellow. I'll take a yellow.
No,
on
that's
that.
a red.
Seventh of the after the Lily. You already got the yellow. I actually took the
Yeah,
red.
but that was yesterday. I get one a day. That was yesterday. That was yesterday's game. I called myself out. Lily,
All right.
thank you.
So to wrap up the show here, we're gonna have to.
We can cut that last part.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
So to wrap up the show,
I'm an idiot. I'm sorry.
will you just shut up?
Yes, I will.
So anything else, Brendan, or can I wrap up the show here?
I think the Dolphins are going to make the playoffs and win the first game too.
I mean, they better because you're going against a
Actually,
team.
no. How about this? Brian Flores, coach of the year. Piggy bank it.
Oh,
I
I
like
mean,
that.
he's probably
I like
the favorite
that.
for that, but either way, is that
He wasn't. It was him and Tomlin 3 straight
it's
losses.
got to be Flores.
Piggy bank it.
Yeah, but Tomlin pulling the TikTok dances could be the deciding factor.
No, it won't be. But
That's the deciding
Dude, I
factor.
fucking love TikTok.
Brandon, obviously that's a good bet that they're going to make the playoffs because they're going as a team that I always say you fade no matter what, the Oakland Raiders, and then a Bills team that will probably have nothing to play for week 17 and bench everyone.
I hope so.
Alright, move on. I'm over the football talk.
Why are you so shook? Because you're an idiot and don't even know.
I can't get over the fact that I just said comeback player of the year, and I wanted to make sure because all I was thinking about was how AP won it, and I was like, oh, it's the same thing.
And I tried to cut you off and cut the show short because I knew you were going to say something stupid.
Sometimes less is more.
No,
you know?
can we bet that Lonzo Ball won't even make second team all defense?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh God, I'm so in on this. I'll give you 3-1 odds.
All right, how about this? I guess we have to wait till next year, but I want you both dressed up as cows at our episode that follows.
All right, if not, you're a pig.
I'll stand outside of Chick-fil-A in an eat more chicken outfit.
Okay.
If he makes first team all pro defense.
You said first or second.
I said if he doesn't make at least second, but now if I'm going to go stand
No.
outside of Chick-fil-A.
Oh, you
Yeah.
can't do
Or
that.
you can hedge it. If he's second team, then you have to wear it during the show.
But if it's first,
No,
I'll
it's
you
stand
have to go.
outside.
Yeah,
no,
correct.
he's definitely going to win. It's not going to be first team. It's going to be second team.
I'll,
I'll wear a cow outfit on the show.
or if not, he has to wear a pig one. You guys, this is your
All right.
guys' wager.
All right.
Yeah, no handshakes during
COVID.
COVID. So to wrap up the show here, though, we need Miles' help, which is unfortunate because him as the deciding factor is kind of scary. But we have to decide or bet the farm this week. And me and Brandon were on a couple similar bets in our cash crops in different ways.
I told
Before
you
you
to-
even say anything, I'm all over that Saints teaser.
That's
That's
the one
the
I was
one I
hoping.
like.
So,
No, we're not doing. Our
Or
bet
I'll
the
take
farms-
Saints -7. It doesn't matter.
Our bet
Either
the
one, I'm
farms
all over it.
are against the spread, and we're taking them against the spread. So we're talking Saints -7.
ATS, all the
All right,
shekels.
so everyone knows what we do here. When you got
Hold on. Let me check the exact current
I saw
odds.
-7, minus 115 or minus 117. So that's what I'm
I
on.
was
They
hoping
are
you said-
7 minus 113, which is basically almost
Yeah.
6.5 ish.
No, it's
6
not.
and
Man,
7
it's pretty much
fifths.
7 straight up.
So 6 and 7/5. Jesus.
So without Eric, we don't want to touch hands or everything. But when we all agree on a bet, we call it one thing and one thing only. It's called
Bet the farm.
I'm in on Saints. I said I'd like it in a parlay too. I just
I was hoping you'd say that because I was going to interrupt you, but I decided to keep my mouth shut. And I'm
All
glad I
right.
did.
Well, it was a fun show. Let's get a little recap of everyone's plays. On my end, my cash crop: Saints -0.5 versus the Vikings, and Bears -1 versus the Jags. 6.5 point teaser, 4-unit banger.
Banger.
Packers -3 at home versus the Titans. Browns -9.5 at the Jets. Eric is on +2. Was it
Minus 2.5, I
Minus
think.
2? +2. Who cares? sucks. Green Bay -3.5. And Pittsburgh +1.5. Or are they -1.5?
+1.5.
+1.5. I've got Miles at the Pelicans +5 on Christmas Day.
No, I didn't
Nope.
touch that
No,
game.
Tonight.
that's on. Okay,
Tonight.
so on Wednesday
And
night,
also, guess what? I already know his next pick because it's the Paul brothers.
Hornets
There you
-2.5.
That's
On
minus-
Christmas Day, he's got Bucks -9.
There you
Excuse
go.
me. Nets -1, and most likely an LRC, which is first quarter, first half, full game. Jared, I have you with a teaser on the Bills and Panthers. 7-point teaser. Broncos +3. Cleveland and Chicago.
Whoa, hold on. Just to cut you off. The 7-point teaser is the Browns Bears. I have a Panthers Bills one that's only just a regular 6-pointer.
Okay. So Cleveland, Chicago, 7-pointer. Bills, Panthers, 6 points. Pittsburgh also with the 1.5. What did I miss?
Broncos +3.5. Again,
That's
fade the
it.
Chargers as favorites, and the Saints, and also the bet the farm pick of the week -7.
Saints -7. All
Are you
right.
saying you're taking the Panthers and the Bills at +6?
I'm taking the Panthers and the Bills in a 6-point teaser. So I got the Panthers from +1.5 up to +7.5, and I get the Bills from -7 down to -1.
Correct. All right. Well, that'll do it. We got. Well, let me count this up for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 Miles. 3 for me. 3 for Eric.
5 for me.
5 for Jared. Big cash
And
crop
again,
week.
15-5. We got to keep it up,
Yeah.
boys.
16, 5, and 2.
And again,
Wow.
feel free to DM us anytime.
In our
for
official
any
cash
picks.
crops, we're talking the main crew on this show on Wednesdays. But I feel what you're saying. We've been doing well on the outside shows. We're going to keep it going.
So enjoy the holidays, everybody. Thanks for tuning in as usual. Stay tuned for some additional shows moving forward. Jared and I have a few things for NFL, end of season, especially when it comes to the playoffs. We'll do some additional shows and get some player prop action for you guys. MMA shows coming in January. NBA will dive deeper, and don't get too complacent. Golf coming up. The Plotniks.
Let's go.
Golf picks with the Plotniks is coming up, so get ready. So I appreciate you guys all tuning in. But
Cheers.
Safe travels to you this weekend, Dino.
yes, sir. I'll be in Colorado. Later, boys.